I could talk about endless cases which would lead me towards my eventual point. You know, the classic male teacher versus female teacher committing the same offence towards a pupil and the male teacher getting a much harsher sentence, but instead, I'll pick another comparison which has been in the UK press recently. Enough of the intro, let's just get into it. So case 1, we have Adam Johnson, he's 28, plays football for Sunderland, well at least he did. He got paid £60,000 a week. And he meets some 15-year-old girl on social media, gets chatting. Eventually they met again, he kissed her, and a few months later he was charged of grooming and sexual activity with a minor. Now, she was like a mature 15-year-old girl, but I'll get onto that point later on in the video. So as you can imagine, there were psychiatric tests done on him during a trial, and there was no evidence that he was sexually attracted to prepubescent children in any way. He was described as mentally and socially immature. So long story short, the guy is a massive idiot, and he got sentenced to 6 years in prison. Now if we look towards case 2, some 40-something-year-old husband in the UK, has a wife, daughter, etc, pretty standard situation. The guy took pictures of his naked daughter, who was 7 years old, and sent them to other paedophiles he knew. There's no denying this guy's an absolute sicko, and he only got sentenced to 13 months in prison. Do you honestly think this guy is going to be a new man after spending 13 months in prison? He has a legitimate problem. He isn't some moronic 20-something who thought with his dick and not his brain. We shouldn't even be putting people like this in prison, and if we are, we should at least make it a significant amount of time respective to the severity of other crimes. I think it's pretty easy to say which individual committed the more severe crime here. What we should be doing is putting these people in mental institutes and actually taking proactive steps to reform them so that one day they may be able to integrate back into society. While it's sometimes easy to think all we want for these people is for them to have a new best friend in prison and to get railed every night, I think deep down a lot of us feel that they do need some help and they do need to improve their mental standpoint. Jumping back to case 1, the girl got a lot of hatred thrown at her on social media as a result of the case going public before a decision in regards to Johnson being innocent or guilty was made. You know the whole "you're making it up, stop lying" thing. As you'd expect, this caused a whole lot of distress for her. This all leads into one major problem I have with the justice system, and how they allow the media to intervene and let everyone find out about the case before a verdict has been made. We shouldn't have to know anything about the case or the people involved before a verdict has been given. If we look at something like the recent rape cases celebrities have faced over the past few years, it's like there's been a witch hunt against the accused before anything has been said in regards to a verdict. There's such a negative stigma sidelined with rape allegations that it's almost like if someone's been accused, they're already guilty in a lot of people's eyes. It's without question that even if the accused is found out to be innocent, there are still negative effects on their career and life in general as a result. You know, the whole, what if he actually did it? I mean, I know they said he was innocent, but you never really know, do you? It's an absolute joke. All you have to do is browse through message boards on the internet to see that a bunch of idiots have already made up their mind if the person is guilty or not based on a couple of biased news articles. I feel like I'm going to say this a lot in my life, but people are sheep. They'll believe what they're told. If we stop littering daily news with speculation about what happened in a court case without the full story of what actually happened, that girl wouldn't have been harassed over social media, and people who turned out to be innocent wouldn't have their social reputation destroyed to the same extent. And guess what? Those who turned out to be guilty, they'd still be viewed as pieces of shit. I don't know why Parliament doesn't decide to say something like, we're going to make all cases involving rape secret until a verdict has been given. We recognise that there's a rash opinion formulated over the accused far too often, and in order to protect their integrity, we will not allow any information to be available to the public before that time. Some of you may be saying, but what about the people not being able to go to the galleries and view cases? It could deter people from wanting to get into law. If that's a legitimate inquiry, and you think for a second that a few people not being able to sit in a public gallery to witness a rape case outweighs the potential anxiety and stress an individual has as a result of being dragged through the media when they've done nothing wrong, then I think you need to reevaluate your decision. And yes, I do mean a few. The large majority of the public galleries in the UK are nearly completely empty, and when occupied, are mainly due to journalists. Oh look, there's the media I was talking about. What I wish the justice system would do is update their laws based on how society has changed. The Sexual Offences Act, basically the age which you can have consensual sex, was set at 16 in 2001. 2001, 15 years ago. Now it may not seem like a vast amount of time, but society, especially regarding the landscape for teenagers, has changed a lot. Now, I could use pictures to demonstrate this, but I don't really do graphics, so I'll just list some things. People go through puberty earlier, people go to parties earlier, people drink earlier, people do drugs earlier, girls wear makeup earlier, people watch porn earlier, and yes, people have sex earlier. I guarantee in a few years' time they'll have to ID anyone who looks under 30 if they're buying alcohol. The things a 15-year-old gets up to in 2016 are completely different to what a 15-year-old got up to in 2001. 15-year-olds in the present day know a lot more than adults realise. They're not these young people we wrap up and cradle who go back to mummy and daddy and make roast potatoes for the family on Sunday whilst talking about if they prefer Scrabble or Monopoly. They're out in town centres dressing in clothes 2 sizes too small for them, wearing cheap makeup and talking about sex, whilst convincing themselves that since they ordered a Diet Coke at McDonald's, it's all going to be okay. This 15-year-old girl who kissed this footballer knew exactly what was going on. She wasn't some precious butterfly who got abused and whose life will never be the same. In the matter of a few months, it would all have been okay in the law's eyes. Parliament need to realise that people are growing up faster and need to adjust the laws accordingly. They're in place to protect the young, but the stark reality is a lot of these young 15-year-olds are already socially aware enough to consent to the above. Far, far more than compared to 2001. It's time for Parliament to wake up and smell the coffee. The 15-year-olds already are.